Get ready. It's time. Christina and Lisa. Welcome to the Cimorelli podcast.
Hey, I'm Christina.
And I'm Lisa.
And we're part of Cimorelli. Wow. Welcome back to
the Cimorelli podcast.
Woo!
Yeehaw!
Me being four other people, or three people. Me being a bunch of people.
That's how you be a crowd.
Whatever.
That's when people go, I took a photo of myself every day this year. Ready? Here I go.
Is that
where
thing
they make it
people
look
really
like
do?
the time lapse.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's
okay, that's
so
what I was
awesome.
doing. You guys, hopefully you're watching the podcast to see that, which I think you are. The Cimorelli podcast is a fun, uplifting podcast where we focus a lot on self-improvement and personal growth, and we share juicy stories, discuss personal topics, and get vulnerable and real with you guys. And every other episode is available only on our Patreon. Definitely want to join Patreon. You get double the podcast episodes plus other series like things we don't talk about, a really deep, vulnerable series, and a bunch of Q&As with us, and other series. Like, there's a lot of stuff on there. I can't even list it all. It would take too long. So consider joining the Patreon for like a month. See if you like it. You probably will.
Check it out. Today, we are continuing our very special series called 20 Questions. In this series, we interview each other on a topic that is very personal and significant to us. In today's episode, I'll be interviewing Christina on motherhood. Oh my gosh. What are the odds? Yeah. Interesting. So.
And this is the questions came from.
Oh, yes. Sorry. I just
our
said
beloved patrons.
You're supposed to interview yourself. Okay. The questions came from our beloved patrons. And the first question is from Marcela. And Marcela wants to know, what are you most looking forward to teaching Bear this year?
Okay. So this year, 2021, probably.
Wait, how old will he be by the end of the year? Over 1 year old.
Yeah, 1 and 4 months.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm looking forward to beginning swimming lessons.
I was just going to say, that was the first thing that came to mind.
Him just floating on his back.
Pool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to beginning swimming lessons. I'm really looking forward to that. I would say that's number one.
Tapping on the piano?
Yeah.
It's going to be so cute. There's literally
There's too many things.
There's so many things.
But I have been looking forward to swimming since he was born.
Trying new foods. Do you like this?
Teaching him how to eat.
Oh.
There's too many things, but let's just say that one.
Yeah. What do you think has been the most challenging part whilst looking after Bear, whilst healing from a C-section? This question comes from Isabel. Thank you, Isabel.
So, you asked a bunch of good questions, as Kath pointed out, and I can see. That's pretty easy. It was just like the physical what's
challenge.
It called when you, I can't think of a lot of words recently when I'm sleep deprived.
Physical aspect?
When you have like physical limits. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Limitations. There we go. So basically, healing from my emergency C-section was very rough. So it was very
like extra tough, right?
Yeah, it was very painful, and I couldn't. Okay, so it's hard to explain, but I couldn't walk really. I had to like lift my leg up with my hands because I couldn't do that kind of motion of using my abs in that way, and I couldn't carry him for very long periods of time, like more than a couple minutes.
Pain or numbness?
Because it hurt really bad. Ooh. Yeah, it hurt because you use your core for like everything.
Yeah,
you don't realize until your core has been cut. You don't realize that you use it for everything.
Wait, they cut your muscles?
They cut everything.
Oh my gosh, I can't think about that. Oh my gosh.
I haven't thought too much about everything they cut. I just say that and I just don't. I try not to think about the rest of it. But anyway,
that's wild.
You don't realize that you use your core for literally everything. So I couldn't like walk him around and bounce him to try to help him go to sleep. I had to do everything sitting down because getting up was so difficult. Getting up with him, I couldn't do. I had to be like, hey, Nick, take him so I can stand up. So that's just really frustrating because it's like he's crying. I want to help him, but all I can do is what I can do when I'm sitting here, which wasn't that much because you use your core for everything. So that was very challenging. I couldn't do like normal functions, whatever that you would need to take care of a baby.
Basic things became extremely challenging. It must feel so freeing, like, you know, when you're sick and then you get well and you're like,
it does.
It's
I'm like I can
these
walk.
basic things. You're like, wow.
Yes, it does. I'm like, I can bounce him. I can hold him. What the heck?
That perspective, y'all.
It really does feel like that.
So the next question comes from Whoa, Kelsey. I tried to sing every name in my episode, but I only sang like 4 of them. So what would you say, she asks, what would you say has been the hardest part of motherhood?
Okay, so even though that physical part was challenging, it was definitely the mental transition. But that was partly because of the physical limitations I wasn't expecting. But it's just like all these new mental challenges of things that I had like tied my self-worth to that I didn't need to, and that a lot of women do the same things I didn't realize. Luckily, I've been working so much on my mental health that I was able to realize, like, with nursing, you can like tie your amount of milk you're producing to your self-worth. Lots of women do this. Yeah, it's weird, but like it's like a natural thing for women to do. It's like, oh my gosh, am I a failure? I didn't produce enough milk. That's you feel like I'm a failure as a mother because I couldn't produce enough milk. But luckily, I've been doing so much mental health work that I was like, okay, I can tell this is probably a normal thing. I was right upon further research. And I was like, no, this is not my self-worth. How much milk I can produce. Like I'm doing my best.
What would you say to someone else? You wouldn't be like,
yes, you
failure.
Suck. Yeah.
You wouldn't at all, but that's such a mental game.
That was hard getting over that, and then getting over the loss of quote, quote, freedom. So it's like you gain this amazing gift, but you do lose a lot of freedom, but you gain something. Like I was saying this the other day, like I smile more, probably as much as I used to in like a month in a day, easily. Smile like 1,000 times. And I'm smiled at like 1,000 times. So that's so different and so worth it. And there's the feeling and like the bond and how much you sacrifice for your child.
What deeper connection is there?
Yeah, it's just amazing. So you give up a lot of freedom. That's
the biggest
true.
Sacrifice brings the biggest rewards.
Yes. So it's like I'm giving up a ton. I have to like figure out how life looks now that I literally have to what's I'm looking for, schedule it around this tiny person every second of the day, and like when I'm feeding them and when they're sleeping and what we're doing, whatever. So that like scheduling my entire day around someone is not something that I ever wanted to do ever. Like Nick and I barely schedule our day around each other at all.
Oh yeah, that's a big
So I was like, I don't want to schedule my entire day around someone who has to eat from me every hour and a half. But I got used. I said to myself, I'm gonna get used to it. I got used to it.
Oh yeah,
I'm used to it.
And he ain't gonna be that way forever.
Yeah, and I'm like, he's not gonna miss. Yeah, it's not gonna be like this forever. But it was definitely challenging, the mental transition.
I see those mom accounts on Instagram. They're full of gentle reminders. They're like you can mourn the loss of the life you lived while still being excited for the child to come.
That is such a good thing to remember. You can be
having a tough time and enjoy parenting.
Because that's another thing. You'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm a horrible mom. I feel so guilty that I really miss my old life. I miss being able to just go on a walk and not think about anything, or just go to the store.
Why wouldn't you?
Or just like sleep. I really miss that. Yeah. But you're allowed to miss that, and you can still be a good mom. It's okay. Yeah. That's a great thing to remember.
Well, thank you. The next question comes from Isabel with an O. Isobel. Just kidding. I don't know how you pronounce it, but we'll just leave it there. She asks, what milestone are you most excited about Barrett reaching? So many milestones to choose from, really, if we're getting into the nitpicking.
Okay, I do feel like maybe walking, because I remember almost all of my younger siblings walking for the first time. It was so exciting. Like, I don't exactly remember them crawling.
That's a coaching moment.
Or like certain things. Yeah, I don't remember certain things, but I remember almost everyone walking. It was so fun. Like, such a cool thing.
Look, she took a step.
Oh, it was so exciting. Like, Mom, she took her first step. Get in here. You know, or like, hey, Lauren took her first step. Everyone get in here. Like, you know, so I'll just say walking for now. That's going to be really exciting. I'm excited.
I have to say I'm most excited for him to start talking.
Oh my gosh.
Cannot wait. Like, what
when
does
he's
he have
like
to say?
really, really talking. Yes.
Even little words. Mama. Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay. Talking ties. Yeah.
Those awking words. Walking, talking, squawking. We love it.
Yes. He squawks already.
He does squawk. It's wild. Our next question comes from Annabelle. And Annabelle wants to know, I don't know where she's from, but I'll just give her a southern accent. What are a few of your goals with Barrett for 2021?
A few of my goals with Barrett. I feel like I thought of this and now I can't remember. Goals. Well, one of my goals, which I already said earlier.
Get him a PhD.
Yes. One of my goals is to do our beginning swimming stuff in the summer. That'll be really fun. And then one of my goals, well, this is kind of broad. It's just to build, my biggest goal is to build trust, like a secure connection, so that he knows when he calls, I'm going to come. When he's looking for me, I'm there. When he needs something and he can't say it, I'm going to figure it out, or at least most of the time I'm going to figure it out. Never going to get 100%, but I know that most of the time I'm trying to meet his needs. That's my biggest goal, that he can feel that and that we get that secure connection. That's my biggest 2021 goal, because it's so scary. You can't even talk and say what you need, and this person has to guess. Like, you're crying because your butt hurts and they don't even know.
But
and
luckily
then,
you're human too, so it's not like you have to guess
could
these
be
random
this,
animal needs.
Could be that.
It's like, you kind of know.
It's like, what if they have an ear infection? They can't be like, okay, maybe they're tugging at their ear. I had ear infections all the time.
Oh.
So yeah, it's one of my biggest goals.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Our next question comes from Coco. Coco wants to know, little rhyme. How did having a baby influence your working life? I can't imagine it did, but how did it?
Yeah.
What minuscule ways?
Okay, it actually kind of didn't as much as I thought it would, because I thought it was going to like change everything, but then it actually didn't. It's kind of weird because, okay, so the girls already think that I don't give them enough breaks, basically. So I was like, okay, now I have to give them breaks because I have to take breaks to feed him.
The child needs time.
It worked out. Yeah, they weren't like, we need less breaks, Christina. They were like, oh, great, a break. So I take more breaks to feed him because I never took as many breaks before. And I'm just trying to work less hours overall, that we're trying to plan more smart, which I think we're doing a good job of, so that it's less hours, but like more quality content. And I also feel really inspired now that it's like my actual child is going to see this content one day.
Gotta be good.
I used to think of it before, like, okay, my kids are going to see this. Like, I want to make sure this is stuff that I'm proud of on the internet.
Well, it's like you just didn't want to make sure it wasn't stupid.
Yeah.
But now you're like,
now I'm like, oh my gosh, my actual child's going to see this. I'm glad I'm proud of everything I have on the internet, and I really want to make him proud. He's a real person I can think of now. So
wow,
that affects it, I would say.
Absolutely. The next question comes from Rebecca with 1C. She's a unique gal. Have you noticed that your relationship with Nick is different now?
Yeah, I was following this account that was for like marriage after baby.
Oh, specific.
Which she said she was in the Sim Fam. I followed her.
Oh my gosh.
She's like, oh my gosh,
I love your band.
I literally watched every video for the last, like, I don't remember, she said 7 years. I don't know, I'm making it
Whoa.
up. And I was like, what the heck? I wouldn't have guessed that. But anyway, really cool. A side note. And basically, our marriage basically died, I would say. I would say it died in the beginning because it was like, I'm giving every last ounce of everything that I have to take care of this child while I'm also attempting to heal from a major surgery. Huge, biggest life change ever. I have nothing for you, Nick. And he's like, I have nothing for you. And we kind of just gave everything we could to Barrett and nothing to each other. And then after a while, I'm like, I don't think we've hugged each other in like a week.
Oh.
Probably not really a week, but basically it was
Feels
kind of like
like
that.
it.
It's like, did we hug each other once a day? I don't know. But we were talking about Barrett all the time, which is really fun. But I would say, yeah, our marriage kind of died momentarily, which I think is totally normal based on the stuff I've seen on the internet. So we had to like actually try to rebuild it. I heard at one point I was thinking like, am I ever going to want to talk to him again? And then the next week, you have all these hormones. You think crazy things. The next week, I'm like, duh, I want to talk to him. But I was like, do I care anymore? Yes, you care. It's hormones. So it's wild. Wild. Kind of is back to normal now, though. So normal stuff.
Like he has become a lot more mushy from what I've seen.
Definitely.
Like, you do boo, boo, boo.
Yeah, I would say it's unlocked his mushiness more, which is great.
Yes.
Love
he's
that.
He's quite the caretaker. Our next question, again, is from Isabel with an O. She's killing it. How do you think motherhood has changed you?
Oh my gosh.
This is a great question.
It has grown me. Yeah, it's challenged me in so many ways. I've had to like face a lot of my biggest fears, which is weird. like surgery,
Makes
needles.
sense.
Oh my gosh, surgery, needles, blood, not sleeping. Literally some of my
One of your biggest fears, not sleeping.
I'm dead serious. I know it sounds crazy. That's
not that
literally, it was
crazy.
one of my biggest fears.
Especially for a prolonged amount of time, that's a fear.
That was
That's
my
a fear.
biggest fear. I thought like I will die because I'm not one of those people who can just not sleep. Well, I am actually. I thought I wasn't one of those people who can just not sleep and live, but I am. I slept 1 hour last night. That's not normal, but that's what happened. And I am living life
To the fullest.
not
Just kidding.
anywhere near the fullest, but I'm
Decently
living.
well.
I'm living. So I'm not on the edge of death, I would say. That's good. So basically I've sacrificed and suffered so much, but for a cause. So the amount of sacrifice and suffering that I've experienced has deeply changed me. It's so hard to explain until you go through it. And my mom and I were talking about this. That's true. Like once you go through this, you literally feel like a warrior. You're like, I am a warrior. I cannot believe I am a warrior.
Once you go through it, you're like, cause that's how I must feel. You're not just going to battle for no reason.
Yeah, it's like I just faced a bunch of my biggest fears. How did I on earth? And I thought I couldn't do it because the only thing that makes you do it is the fact that you have a tiny little angel depending on you. So like there's no choice. I have to do it. Otherwise, before you're like, I'm not going to push myself. I don't have to. But this like, I have to.
The nurturing
I'm going to do it.
instincts.
So it grew me into a warrior, different person. Never experienced it before.
It's weird because it makes you tougher and softer.
Yeah, it's weird.
At the same time.
So yeah, that's a good way to sum it up. I'm a lot tougher and softer.
Oof. Because that heart just stretches.
Yes.
Stretches. Just gets bigger. Next, I don't know why that was Australian. Our next question is from Janine. Janine wants to know, is motherhood like you thought it would be?
No.
I was like, what do you really think it's going to be? You just picture like, oh, doo-doo, so cute.
Yeah, I really thought
You
it was
don't
gonna
think
be...
about all the things you have to do.
Oh my gosh.
Just like, oh, look at that cute baby. I want one.
Yeah, it was nothing. And it's crazy because I've taken care of so many of my siblings, but I didn't take care of them from the newborn days on because my mom was with them.
Yeah,
And that's what I
you
realized.
Experienced that.
Yeah, I would say like I'm curious to see how like toddlerhood measures up because I do have way more experience with toddlers on.
I have high
all those
expectations
ages.
for toddlers.
I'm curious about that. I have a lot of experience there, but newborns, no. So yeah, it was nothing like I thought it would be. Probably like 10 million trillion times harder than I thought
But
it
I
would
bet
be.
toddlerhood, whatever you want to call it, will be like you think because we have
know.
experience with toddlers.
Everyone's saying that's like insanely hard. So I'm like,
I think it's just
okay.
a lot of like
I
discipline.
do have so much more experience at that. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
No,
But
I think it's like
it was
babysitting all the
wild.
time. You know,
yeah. So we'll see.
you are the sitter.
It was nothing like I thought it would be.
You really? How would you even have expectations for that? I just realized.
Yeah.
Like,
You think that you can guess
oh,
how
I
something
have
is?
a cat.
Yeah. You think you have an idea? No. Nope.
That's wild. Well, thank you, Janine. The
Thank
next
you.
question is from Bessie. Bessie wants to know, how do you manage to have time for your hobbies or other things that do not directly include taking care of Barrett?
Okay. So
And do you, actually?
this is a challenge, but I've been like strategizing.
I imagine
lately.
in the very beginning, you absolutely don't.
Yeah. In the beginning, you don't.
There's no
But
time.
it's kind of like, okay, you just have to be strategic. So can I do something while he's sleeping? Can he be playing while I'm doing something? Can a family member come up and watch him? Can you get a babysitter, or can you get like, if it's like, I mean, that can get really expensive. So can you get like mother's helper teenager come over and play with him for a bit, who's cheaper than an older babysitter who's there alone, stuff like that. I need him to be occupied in some way. That's the answer. So someone's with him, he's sleeping, or he's playing, basically. So there's a few things I haven't fit in yet, but I'm like made a list last week of things that I want to get back into. But you know what? Even before I had him, I didn't make time for my hobbies. I'd be like, oh, I just sat on my phone
Yeah.
for like 5 hours. And it's
That's
like,
pretty relatable
I had,
to
now I'm like,
everyone.
I had so much freaking time before this, but
Yeah.
you just, if you're not forced to actually do it, like you're not going to do it. Now that I know, like, oh my gosh, I have 30 minutes right now. I'm going to do all these chores, or I'm going to go record something, like whatever, because I'm like, I have 30 minutes. Before it was like, I have all day, like maybe tomorrow.
You're
And
going
you'd
to
say that every day.
become so much more productive.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
You take advantage of every pocket of time now.
Yeah.
That's funny. When you have less time, you do more. Ha ha. Wow, deep. Thanks, Bessie. The next question is, how do you manage time for self-care? Kind of similar question. P.S. You're an amazing mom. From Kelsey.
Thank you, Kelsey.
Kelsey.
Kind of what I was saying before, you have to find time when he's occupied. Otherwise, it's just not really going to work when he's doing something. So like I'll put him on my bed because he doesn't like crawl around yet. He can't really when he's in the middle of the bed. It's a huge bed. So I'll put him in there.
Even flip over much.
And in the morning, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to brush my teeth, brush my hair, change and put my contacts in and do a few extra things to feel like that's like light self-care. That's like the basics. But some people, they don't even get those done in motherhood. So I'm like, I have to get those done at least. And then other things, you got to have them occupied somehow to do that. Like today I had a babysitter over there. And I did like a whole self-care hour.
Ooh.
And I did all this like extra self-care stuff that was maybe kind of like pointless, random, like as far as what I was actually doing. Like I had one of those roller things on your face. I just did it because it feels really good when it's in the refrigerator and you take it out. But I don't really know if I had a point, but it felt really
soothing.
good.
That's the point.
I had like lavender essential oils. I like lit a candle. I sprayed my like rose water spray, kind of like stuff that's
spa day.
Yeah, it was just like an hour that was like, I'm just going to do like an indulgent, luxurious shower. And it felt so good. So, something like just 1 hour of that, which can be hard to come by as a mom. It's great. I mean, that's what I do for now. Hopefully it will evolve over time.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah, it will.
Isabel has the next question, and she asks, do you find yourself closer or more distant from God, now that you're a mother?
Okay, so I feel like on the one hand, closer to, because seeing like his design of like the human body and motherhood and birth and children. I mean, when you learn about giving birth and the human body giving birth, it's like
wild.
Unreal. Like, wow, this is absolutely amazing. So that made me like feel closer to God actually. And just going through so much suffering, I felt like I connected with God a lot. So I do feel like I did get a lot closer, but then I also feel like but I felt like I already had this before. I'm challenged to spend time with God. Maybe I'm more aware of like, I need to spend more time with God because I want Barrett to see me as an example, and I want to be spending time with God with Barrett. So that's on my mind more now because I'm like, he is developing his opinions of everything right now. So it makes me more conscious of like, I really want him to see this certain thing. So I need to take it more seriously. And I've wanted to anyway, but now I'm like, it's really important to me. So I think I'm more aware of the ways I'm distant and what I need to work on, but I do think I'm a lot closer to God because I can just see so many gifts in all of the suffering and when I say suffering, it might sound kind of like dramatic, but I feel like we use the word suffering in Catholic Church a lot. So that's kind of why I'm using it. So hopefully you guys aren't like, what the heck? I'm just suffering like anything that's difficult. Yeah. I'm not saying, I feel like it could come across like I'm not grateful, but it's really just the reality is
tough
you go through suffering.
You can't like just make it stop.
Yeah.
It's just happening to you.
So yeah, going through all of that, I see a lot of gifts from God, like all these gifts of like strength and resilience, perseverance, discipline, focus, like so many things like that. I can see all these gifts. So I would say, closer.
You're going to be teaching him how to do his little bedtime prayer soon.
That'll be,
it's going to be so
cute. I will die.
Oh, I can't wait. Make a video, please.
But I'm like, he needs to see me praying before bed.
You pray with him.
I gotta do it. Yeah, I know.
Pray together.
And I keep forgetting. See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I realize what I'm forgetting.
Oh. All right. The next question is from Annabelle. Once again, we find ourselves back with Annabelle. She asks, what ways did you find best to relax, rest, and heal after the C-section? Like what was most effective, I guess?
I mean, I had to sit on the couch all day, basically.
Yeah, you didn't really have a choice.
Yeah, and I couldn't get into my bed. I literally couldn't get into my bed.
Did you
have to,
sleep on the
climb.
couch?
Yeah, I couldn't climb into my bed because you use your core. I couldn't
Did you
do
get
it.
bed sores kind of like on your butt from sitting all the time? No. Oh, okay.
Because I was kind of moving around. You're supposed to walk every day to heal. It sucks because they're like, now walk around. You're like, I can't. But they make you walk and it hurts so bad. But anyway, the best ways to relax were relaxing on the couch and healing. Let's see. Drinking a ton of water and getting like a lot of nutritious food. I did focus on that. I ate like a lot of random stuff, but I did have a lot of vegetables and a lot of like, I think I really was trying to like replenish myself after all I went through. And then making sure I had a lot of help so I wasn't like lifting things and blah, blah, blah. I asked for help a lot, which was good. I don't know if I did anything else really. Here's a big one. I worked with a pelvic floor physical therapist and she helped me so much. So she like assessed everything and told me like how I was healing and some exercise I should do to help myself slowly build my strength back. And it was so great for my mental health actually, because she would tell me like, oh, you're doing great. I've seen like so many moms who have had C-sections and yours looks amazing. Yay. Your scar tissue, blah, blah, blah. And that made me feel, oh, good. A professional has checked me out and said, this is going great, blah, blah, blah.
Be relaxing.
So that helped my mental health a lot.
Yeah.
So having her in the healing process was like one of the best things. I looked forward to her coming every week. I was so happy about that. So that was very, very helpful.
Our next question is from MN Girl. I'm assuming it's Minnesota, but I don't know. Could be like Moose Nachos. I don't know.
Moose Nachos Girl.
Moose Nachos Girl asks, what is your best advice on tackling mom guilt, aka feeling like you are a bad mom?
Yeah. Mom guilt is, I'm glad they
So
have a
real.
phrase for that because it tells you like, oh, this is so real and common.
And it doesn't help that people like put it on you all the time. How could you do that? How could you do this? How could you do that?
But we were talking about this. I was talking to my sisters about that and they were like, yeah, moms guilt other moms all the time because they feel guilty themselves.
It's a cycle. They get guilted, so they guilt others.
Yes, that's why it happens. And it's like I said, you have all these things to like put your self-worth on, like, oh my gosh, my child's not meeting their milestones. Did I like fail by not giving them enough tummy time, or I'm not producing milk, or I couldn't nurse my child? Like, am I a failure? I'm not a good enough mom. I didn't try hard enough. Like all these things you can say to yourself like that are so uncalled for, honestly, but we just do automatically. It's like the way we live in the rest of our life. Transfer that into all the mom stuff. Then you kind of realize how toxic it is to like talk to yourself like that. So the same stuff that we talk about in our other podcast episodes is the same, are the same tools that I use to tackle mom guilt, which is breaking it down and being like, is this true? Like, is my milk supply really a reflection of whether or not I'm a failure as a mom? Is that really a reflection of that? No. And you have to break it down for yourself and go why it's not. Otherwise, you will sit there and think that that's the reason that you are a failure as a mom, blah, blah, blah. So you have to break it down and reason with yourself, or else it is so toxic to sit there and just feel like a failure all the time. And then especially with Instagram, to like see all these other moms and it's like, wow, look
like
how well.
Everything's great.
Yeah,
It's
what
perfect.
the heck? Her baby goes in the stroller and doesn't scream their head off. What am I doing wrong? Oh my gosh, I'm a failure. Oh, that baby's sleeping 7-hour stretches. I'm a failure. It's like all these different things happen. You're like, oh, the reason that it's not happening to me is because I'm a failure. And then it's like, no.
You have a different baby.
You have a unique child and you might have done something wrong. You might have done nothing at all wrong. But if you did something wrong, you can learn, you can correct it. And most likely you did nothing wrong and you don't have to learn anything except for how to be nicer to yourself, more compassionate and kind, and how to reason through and realize I didn't do anything wrong. It's just a unique child. And some kids are born being able to sleep really well and some kids can't. Like if you have siblings, you can ask your mom, like, were we all identical? You can ask yourself, am I identical with all my siblings? Okay, maybe you are identical with all your siblings, but probably you're not. I mean, literally, like if you're like a triplet or something and you're like, they're not identical.
I mean,
triplets.
even then,
identical twins.
Do they all sleep the same? I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't think they do. I follow people with they don't. They don't. Even twins don't all sleep the same. So what was I saying? Yeah. Kids are all unique. Gotta stop being mean to yourself, guys. Can you tell I'm really tired? I'm worried that the things I'm saying aren't making sense, but I think they mostly are.
You're doing really well. They're making perfect sense.
If I say something didn't make sense,
no.
Don't blame me.
And that's another thing about the mom guilt is I feel like also coming to terms with the fact that you will do things wrong. You probably already have. Everyone does.
Like, oh,
and
I
if
did
they
that thing
don't
wrong.
do something horribly wrong now, they will later because we're all just people.
Yes.
Like, who have you met that's like, I mean, honestly can say their parents
I did
never
everything
did
perfect.
anything wrong. Like,
it wouldn't make sense unless you were a perfect robot, which you're
raised
not.
by a robot.
Yeah, that's a good point, is realizing you not having a standard of I need to do nothing wrong.
And that everyone else doesn't do things wrong.
Yeah.
Everyone does.
Everyone else is a robot. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's just life.
So I would add that into my statement.
Then you don't have to be afraid of it. You're like, oh yeah, okay, I messed that up. That's okay.
Make the goal, instead of not doing anything wrong, being able to identify when something's not working
And just
for
fix
you,
it.
and then being able to be vulnerable enough to be like, oh, that thing I'm doing is not working. I want to fix it, instead of being like too scared to admit you did something wrong, or like being like horrible to yourself because you did something wrong. Instead, just be like, oh, I want to just be more curious and be like, is this working or not? Okay, this thing is wrong. Let me fix that.
It's like cooking or making a meal. Not that I do that very often, but it's like if you put in the wrong ingredient, like
do this a
I
lot.
remember Catherine put baking soda into muffins once or something instead of like baking
powder.
powder. And it tasted really salty. And it's like, oh, are you just going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm a horrible person.
No one else
I put
ever
in the
made
wrong
this mistake.
ingredient. Like, no, you just change the ingredient. It's all a souffle.
Yes. Yeah, that's a really good
You got to just
thing
be
to add in.
a creative chef. Just changing it up. Try new things.
Take the pressure off. You're doing your best.
Yeah. The next question comes from my Fiona, or I was gonna say not Shrek, but Fiona. I got good ones for her, or maybe bad ones if she hates them. Sorry. She asks, "How did you deal with the lack of sleep you had / still have?" Clearly.
Okay. Yes. So,
How do you deal?
Number 1, I ask for help whenever I can for moments of rest. Number 2, I give myself these pampering self-care moments. Those actually really help. I don't know how they help so much, but I think they give you that like rush of like relaxing hormones and whatnot. So doing the little random like pampering yourself moments seem kind of dumb, but that really helps. And then mindset stuff. So in the beginning, whenever like Barrett would wake up, I'd be like, no, in my mind, I'd be screaming, no, oh no, please sleep. And then at one point I was like, what if I stopped saying like, please sleep and oh no? Like, what if I just stopped that and was like, he's gonna wake up when he wakes up. Me saying no will not stop it. So what if I'm just like, he's gonna wake up when he wakes up. I just want to do my best. Lord, give me the strength. So I just changed my mindset. Like last night when I was working on some soothing stuff with him, and he was like adjusting to it, which is why I was up for so long. Then I was just like, I'm doing this process. I'm doing my best. And if I don't sleep, I don't sleep. And then I had to get to like, what am I scared of? Like, oh, I'm scared that I'm not gonna be able to sleep. And then I'm not gonna be able to do the podcast tomorrow. And then it's gonna ruin my whole work schedule. It's like, no, it's gonna be fine. If I have to reschedule, it's gonna be okay. Like I'm going to be okay. And if I have to do it sleep deprived, I'm gonna be okay, which I am okay. And I was like, if I'm dead, I can reschedule it. And I felt, okay, I can do this. I don't actually feel as dead as I thought. So it really is a mindset thing for me. I just accepted it, which is weird. But when you stop fighting it and you just accept it and you accept like, yes, it doesn't feel that good. You don't like lie and say, I feel great. I'm like, it doesn't feel that good, but this is how it is. And it's not going to last forever. That's a fact. That is definitely a fact. It cannot last forever. Okay. He's not going to be his crib when he's 15. That's definitely not going to happen. It's not going to last forever.
He's going to be sleeping like 13 hours and you have to go wake him up, like, get ready for school or whatever.
Yeah. So acceptance is just wild. The more I fought it, the more it hurt.
It's so true.
It's true.
When I had like really bad anxiety or like different things like being jet lagged or I don't know, just certain random or the night before a big trip when you like certain things bring on that insomnia.
Yeah.
And the more that you sit there, and go, oh no, I'm awake. Oh no, I need to fall asleep. It makes you more stressed out, more awake, and you sleep really light and you're like panicking the whole time. But when I had that for an extended period of time, I started just going, okay, I'm not going to sleep tonight. That's okay. Like I'll sleep in the car or I'll do something else. And you realize like you're not going to be awake forever. At some point, you will crash. And if you feel like you're going to crash, you can have someone take care of the child while you crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At some point, you're going to sleep.
Makes it so much better. That's so true. One of our last questions is from Ariel. Not exactly sure how you say that, but give us a little shout in the comments. This is a cute question. What kind of personality do you think Barrett has/will have? Ooh.
Yeah, this is so interesting because it's just my like theories now, but my mom gave me some insight on this because she saw 11 little babies grow up into adults with their personalities, you know? So comparing that, and she, in her professional opinion, after talking to her, then I would just agree with her on this. She thinks that he's really like abnormally smiley. So I think probably like pretty friendly.
He's very social, it seems.
Social. That's what she said. She said that as well. He's a very social baby. So friendly, social, with a very like determined, focused and determined side. That's like really determined.
Strong will.
Yeah, he's strong, but it's weird. I don't know how that mixes, but
like
it's not. But it reminds me of Nick. Kind of. He's strong-willed, but also laid back. But those aren't opposite, are they?
No, it's not like hard-headed and like, I don't care what you say. It's just like, when I want something, I'm going to get it.
He's strong-willed, and he's also kind of laid back and social.
He's definitely a people person because you can see, like, you put a toy in front of him, he's kind of like, huh, what's that? And then, like, people enter the room, he's like, oh my gosh. He's like looking all around and like smiling. He loves people.
So we'll see in a couple years, like, does he turn out just like we're thinking? I have no idea, but I'm curious to see that.
Even some of our kids, like Joey, I feel like he was really outgoing and like loud as a kid. And now he's like, he went through a really quiet, like withdrawn phase as a teenager. And now he's coming out slowly into a different in between. Like a lot of people have like character arcs throughout.
You know what's weird? His determination thing kind of reminds me of Lauren when she was a baby. Because Lauren was like, ah! The way that Lauren would scream in her crib, it kind of reminds me of him. Yeah, like, I don't know what that is. We'll see when he gets a little older, but it kind of gives me some Lauren vibes. Like, it's not Amy vibes. It's not like Alex vibes, but it gives me a little bit of Lauren vibes. So I'm curious.
Like an injustice almost.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. And my mom said that he reminds her kind of Christian and Joey in different ways. So we'll see.
That's so interesting.
We'll see. Yeah, I'm so
Very
curious to
different
see
personalities
how
now.
he ends up.
Okay, our last question comes from, I believe you say this as Aaliyah. That's my only guess. Aaliyah? Could be. I don't know.
Aaliyah.
Aleeja. Her question is, what is a mother-son moment of your day that you look forward to?
Oh. Easy. So I'm such a morning person, and so is Barrett. We're such morning people. So I love.
What time does he wake up?
He doesn't wake up that early. Well, he wakes up 100 times.
Like wake up.
Finally for the day is at 7.
Oh.
Some days it's earlier, but most times 7.
I feel like a lot of kids wake up at like 6 o'clock. I'm like, oh,
that's not bad.
I'm not ready for that.
But I love waking up in the morning with him. Every time I'm like, good morning. And he goes, oh. And he does this like really cute smile. And then I like, oh, I'm going to change your diaper. And he's like,
oh my gosh.
And then I'm like, hi. I'm like holding him. And he just does like the cutest like smiles the whole day. I'm like, oh, hi, Barrett, blah, blah. And he's just the whole time. He's just so happy. And he's just beaming at me the whole time with the biggest smiles I've ever seen. And it's so fun. In the middle of the night, I'm like, oh, I can't wait till he wakes up. It's going to be so fun. I can't wait for the morning. And no matter, it's been 5.5 months since he started smiling, which was not
pretty early, right?
Yeah, it was not, he wasn't that old. Maybe in the 2-month range. Wow. Since he's really been smiling, probably it's been 2 months straight probably of this. Every single morning without fail, no matter how bad I feel or what I'm going through or what's going on, I've never had, I can feel like absolute trash, which I have on many mornings. No matter what's going on, I wake up and he just beams at me and I just beam right back at him. Doesn't matter what happened. He could have exploded his diaper all over everything. Job. And my white blanket, everything. I'm like, ugh. I pick him up. He's smiling. I'm just like, ah. So that like smile, well, it's not one smile. Millions of smiles in the morning that we share, I would say. Yeah, every single day without fail. Yeah, that's probably one of the best moments of the whole day and my whole life.
Wow, that is really cute. He is a smiley one. He goes, not only smiles when he goes, and does this like
he has like
burrow thing.
He brings his hands to his mouth. It's so cute. It's just insane.
Oh, wow.
It's great.
I wish I had like a video reel of all his cutest moments, but I bet I haven't even seen half of them. Like the things that mannerism types. Like,
yeah,
he's probably got so many. Wow, what a golden child. What a golden mother. Thank you for coming on the show, the Golden Goose.
Oh, on your show. You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks for coming to my talk show. We'll have you back sometime. I don't know. Would you
So
like to
glad
wrap
I
it
got
up
to
since
come to
you
this
usually
show.
do that?
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on the Cimorelli podcast. Once again, check out Patreon. There's so much amazing content in there, like so much. Join it for a month, see what you think. You're probably going to love it, especially if you like self-improvement, personal growth. You will love it. Thank you for your interview. I'm glad I could join the show today.
So welcome.
We'll see you guys in the next episode or the next episode. See you guys later. Bye.
You've been listening to the Cimorelli podcast. Follow Cimorelli on Spotify and subscribe on YouTube. You can also find Cimorelli on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.